This one could get interesting. 6 Feet Under, once one of the legends of death metal, and today, well, I'm gonna get to today in a bit. First, some history on the band. 6 Feet Under was formed in Tampa, Florida in 1993 by vocalist Chris Barnes and obituary guitarist Alan West as sort of a small side project, but they only became a serious project after Barnes' departure from Cannibal Corpse in 1995. Chris left Cannibal Corpse due to personal differences with the rest of the band, and although he claims there is no animosity between him and the rest of the band, that's just somehow hard to believe, mainly due to things like his Twitter bio. Anyway, he left and 6 Feet became his main project, and for a while there, they ripped. I mean, understandably, I've been called out a lot for wearing this hoodie given the band's current reputation in the metal scene, which I'll get to later, but I wear this because I love their old material. You can miss me and most other people with any of that new shit. 6 Feet Under have undergone a ton of lineup changes throughout their history, including the brief addition of Ola England on guitar from 2012 to 2013. So before we get to the more recent controversy surrounding the band, first, as always, comes the album rundown. Brace for impact, this one isn't easy. A few notes: A, I am only going to be dissecting their studio albums, of which there are 13, and this does not include their 4 cover albums because nobody cares about the cover albums. Haunted, 6 Feet Under's debut album, and in my opinion their best one as well. I feel like this is the one that everyone knows too, at least by the album cover. Every song on here is very solid. Fat ass guitar tone, gut-wrenching vocals, classic 90s death metal song structure, sick album cover, A+. Warpath. Groovy, heavy, sick. However, Chris's vocals are already slowly going downhill. Not terrible yet, still definitely listenable, and they don't ruin the entire record just yet, but this is only the beginning. Also, the lyrics are just something else. Maximum Violence. Saved it. They took a little dip in quality with their second album, but in 1999, with this masterpiece of Florida death metal, they saved it. Still not as good as Cannibal Corpse's material at the time, mainly because George's vocals have always beat the shit out of anything Chris Barnes has done, and because 6 Feet Under's lyrics have always been much more primitive and less intricate, but this is death metal, you can't understand what they're saying anyway. True Carnage. First impressions, worst album art yet, but also worst album yet in general. I think on this one we get the first appearance of Chris Barnes' iconic which we'll see a lot more of in a second, but we also get lyrical masterpieces like the song Snakes. Snakes. The vocals on this entire record sound like Barnes was cupping the microphone or had a sock over it or some shit, and it's just a super boring album in general. It pretty much all goes downhill from here. Bringer of Blood. I'll take cringe for 500, Alex. Awful. These song titles are terrible, the lyrics are even worse, Barnes' vocal performance is slowly going to shit. This is nearly unlistenable. In fact, I no longer feel like wearing this hoodie anymore because it is based on the album art for this abomination. I'll be right back. That's better. 13. Every riff, every song sounds the same on this album. Every one of them. I'm not joking, go listen to it. If you can manage to sit through every single song on this thing, start to finish, you won't know where one ends and the next one begins. The worst part of that is that this was clearly not done on purpose. There is a single song on here that starts off kinda promising, and that is The Art of Headhunting. However, the intro riff that originally got me excited about the song just kinda keeps going for what feels like an eternity until you skip the song. No good. Next. Commandment. This album still sounds the same as the 2 or 3 that came before it. In fact, their random, indiscriminate use of power chords makes you feel like they may actually be recycling riffs without you noticing it. However, there is something that feels slightly different about this one. It feels like they listened to a whole bunch of Deicide before they wrote it. Now, Deicide is good. This album isn't, but it almost is. Still a miss though, so next. Death Rituals. Starts off kinda promising with a clean intro that makes you think you might actually be in for some semi-sophisticated death metal. But no, it is like if a 12-year-old wrote a death metal song with a clean guitar intro. The rest of the album does not get any better, so I won't get too deep into it this time because this segment is too long already. Undead. Wait, hold on, is that a good album? The Wikipedia article for this album cites a metal magazine that called this 6 Feet Under's best release since 1999's Maximum Violence, and I could not agree more. It is good. Formaldehyde is my favorite track personally, but they all range on a spectrum from decent to sick as fuck. I probably wouldn't skip any of them if they came on in my playlist. Unborn, their first and only album to feature Ola England, and you can really tell. If you know Ola, you can hear his influence immediately. What a breath of fresh air this album is. I checked the list online of death metal albums released in 2013, and after Ever Black by the Black Dahlia Murder and Deicides in the Minds of Evil, I think this is the third best one. So for a brief moment here, it feels like 6 Feet Under might be dominating death metal again, but let's not get our hopes up too quick, because next up is Crypt of the Devil. I remember watching a Stevie T video years ago before he became who he is today, where he said that there is only a finite amount of drum beats that make sense to use in a death metal song without it sounding completely ridiculous. Now there is a multitude of reasons why the money beat, as it's commonly referred to, is not on that list of drum beats, but 6 Feet Under don't care. This is one of the better albums from 6 Feet Under's modern era, if you will, but it's no Haunted and it's no Unborn. As the youths of today would say, mid. Unburied. First of all, a keen eye may have noticed that the album covers of the albums Undead, Unborn, and Unburied are just small variations of each other. So when you just look at their discography on Spotify and see those three covers, it might make sense to think that there's any sort of correlation between those three albums, like sort of a Metallica Unforgiven thing. But when you read the song titles, when you listen to the songs, you'll notice that it is actually just laziness. This is just a very mediocre album. The opening track is alright, the rest is just Torment. The title of this album very well describes the sensation of listening to it. It is just not good. I don't even really want to go into much more depth about it because it just makes me kind of sad given how good of a path they were on just a few years prior, so let's move on to the last one because that's where it gets really upsetting. Nightmares of the Decomposed. This album is a cognitohazard. It makes you want to crush your skull just to make the music stop, and I'm using the term music very loosely here. I'm going to play a few bits of this album right now, but I have to warn you, you can't unhear what you're about to hear. Turning bloody, rolling back in the skull, now speedy. Bet you wish you'd listened to the warning now. Now to make just that even funnier, as if that's even possible, let's get into some controversy, shall we? Earlier this year there was some ruckus in the metal scene, especially on Twitter to be precise, that essentially boiled down to vocalist Chris Barnes taking to Twitter to complain about the current state of death metal. This included him ranting about how modern death metal vocals make him physically ill and how he despises what the genre has become. The man who released this not 2 years prior hates what death metal has become. The jokes write themselves. He said this in regards to vocalists like George from Cannibal Corpse, Trevor Strnad from the Black Dahlia Murder, rest in peace Trev, and Chase Manson from Gatecreeper and such. The man refuses to elaborate about what exactly it is that seems to bug him so much about death metal and the vocalists specifically, but I personally think he just likes being in the public eye again because his music isn't gonna do that anymore these days. He got into a whole thing with Jamie Joster of Hatebreed and thereby pretty much alienated anyone who was still willing to support him for some reason after that vile album he released not long before. There's also a small Twitter thread where he just kind of goes beast mode on a fan for no reason because he was asking a question. Or this one, which is just kind of sad because he doesn't seem to notice how much he just shot himself in the foot by tweeting that. This man definitely should not be running the Twitter account that represents all of 6 Feet Under. Anyway, he pretty much blocked everyone who disagreed with him, including myself, because I couldn't hold back either. So when he eventually washes his dreadlocks for the first time since Cannibal Corpse, sadly I won't be able to see him tweet about it. I guess at least he's already blocked me on social media, so he can't block me again once this video goes public like Yngwie Malmsteen did. This entire thing also yielded some hilarious memes, this one being my personal favorite. There was also the infamous incident with Seth Putnam, former vocalist of the band Anal Cut, in which Chris allegedly cut a concert short to go fight Seth for heckling him, but again allegedly sent his roadies to go gang up on Putnam so he wouldn't be confronted with him himself, and went to hide in his tour bus. Power move, man, really. And after that event, Putnam's band released a song titled Chris Barnes is a Pussy. Much like our favorite shredding Swede, Barnes also has a cameo today, so let's take a peek in there real quick.
What's up, brutal motherfuckers? It's Chris Barnes from 6 Feet Under. I'm here on Cameo now, and I just want to let you know, if you need to get in touch with me, just direct message me if you want to talk about the band, death metal, weed, whatever. I'm here, we'll talk. If you need a video message, I can take care of that too for you.
I'm sorry, the hair is so distracting. If you want to take a talk have a talk with me about weed or death metal. So yeah, if by any chance you have always wanted to chat about weed with Chris Barnes of 6 Feet Under, then now is your chance for only $6. I wonder if it's the privilege of messaging him that costs $6 or if you pay $6 for every message. So yes, in conclusion, that is why nobody likes 6 Feet Under. I will probably forever continue to enjoy their old material, nothing's gonna change that, and I look forward to seeing what they might release in the future because, you know, comedic value. But I just thought that this was worth a video. Thank you so much for watching this video, I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks to all of these names for supporting me on Patreon, $1.99 a month for all of these benefits. All my affiliate links are in the description. There is a link in the description to my eBay store where you can get these stickers right now and more merch to be added very soon. If you like this video, you can watch my most recent one somewhere up here. You can sub to my channel somewhere down there if you feel like it. All my social media, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook are linked in the description. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. I'll see you next week.